Hello. Okay, so an interesting one this afternoon. Yeah, I was in church, and whilst the worship was going on, an idea dropped in my mind, right? An inspired thought. That's how I get content for uploads. Yeah, so it starts as an idea, and then it begins to expand and expand and expand. The question that started this conversation in my spirit was, why do we have to kneel down to propose? Now, calm down before people start rolling up their sleeves and like, let's hear what this boy wants to say. I don't intend to raise any form of controversy. Let me start by saying that how you want to propose is left to you, right? It's your decision to make. I'm tempted to make like a full video talking about the root of what is noun proposal, and how it is done. How that it has its roots in the medieval age, the knights, the 1900s, how Hollywood came in, added the romantic flair to it and all of that, the kneeling down and all of those stuff. But I think is your decision to make eventually. If you want it, I might still make that video anyways. But you can check it up online. Just go Google stuff and all of that. When that conversation started, when it came to mind, it felt like it became like the opening for something deeper. So I think we as a generation, and allow for generalization for the sake of this conversation, okay? Because our children, our grandchildren, our great grandchildren would benefit from these truths that are being shared. I believe so. And so it's okay to speak in a way so that they know what was predominant in the generation of their fathers, all of that. We are becoming addicts to customs that are coded in trends that are beginning to define the trajectory of our days, our weeks, our months, and just our lives generally. And and these trends are subconsciously beginning to sell us into the systems from which these customs and ideas, these things emanate from. We find ourselves gradually removing guardrails and compromising standards. It's literally a chain reaction, something leading to the other. The way this works is once they get the transaction of your interest recorded on their blockchain, they tweak the algorithm to keep you interested. At the end of the day, you would be far from self awareness because the bulk of what has informed your actions, your inaction, your reactions are contents that came off as an idea in somebody's mind, became popular for some reason, have been injected into what we begin to think as conventional and common. That's a trick there to get you locked into what is defective, that would not add positively to your build up. You see, you will be far from self discovery, self awareness, if you don't stop at any point to ask questions. And the questions that we should be asking as a people every time is why? Why this? What is this? Where did this come from? Where did this emanate from? I'm saying don't be gullible. It's becoming worse because of the advent of new technologies, AI, the pandemic of TikTok profanity. All of these things are on the high, and it feels like at every successive day there's a new all-time high of all of the things that come up as distractions, keeping us away from spending time with ourselves to discover ourselves, and of which the natural byproduct would be that when we discover ourselves, we discover that there's much more to explore about myself than to doom scroll on Instagram, while away time on things that don't add value to me. You can't be that careless to allow yourself to be caught up in the web of what I term the anomaly of society, the things that seems like they are becoming generally acceptable. In fact, I'm of the opinion that we as a people, and I'm speaking to the Christian body now, we tend to follow the world standard, but from a distance. We tend to play catch up, but in a subtle way that doesn't look like we are running after the trends. And don't get me wrong, I'm not speaking about trends, dance trends. No, 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 I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the things that inform your decisions, the things that make you act, the things that begin to form indoctrinations in your mind that you did not stop to question. And we see you out there and we are confused as to who you belong to. Find yourself and find what is food for your spirit, food for your soul, food for your body. You can't just patch around things. There's a reason why goats would not spend time hunting down animals or other animals to eat, because that doesn't contribute to their makeup. That doesn't contribute to what they are genetically made to consume. It would not add as much value as the things they feed on. It is the same reason why a lion would not be found spending more time eating grass than is looking for fresh meat to consume. And so stop compromising your standards for frivolities, for things that don't hold weight, for things that is not part of the script that heaven has written concerning your own life. You would not arrive at that discovery if you are spending your productive time trying to consume things that are diametrically opposed to who you are, as opposed to spending time with God and yourself to discover you, to discover what you are made of, to discover the content that is within your vessel, which you can tend make to blossom, and it becomes a benefit not just to you but to the people around you, rather than giving views and adding to the positive publicity of profanity of things that don't hold value in the grand scheme of things. Why not build you and become the channel from whom or from where there is value being dished out to others? All right. um so that it doesn't feel like I did not touch the subject of kneeling down and proposing, right? I think if you want to kneel down, you should. If you want to, you should. And on a lighter note, maybe you are so tall and you don't want your babe to climb a table before she's proposed to, you can kneel down. I think that really makes sense. Like kneeling down again because of the height difference, the gradient. Yeah, that's on a lighter note. But I think my concern is not the act, my concern is the why, right? I find that many times we don't have reasons, good reasons enough for the things we do. We approach life mindlessly, if I may. We approach life without questioning cause, without questioning effect, without questioning pros and cons, without having to do a proper risk analysis. We just jump on things and then we accept them. And I think that is because we fear what we will discover if we probe further. It's becoming a thing where people just want to enjoy life at the surface and not go deeper to understand the implication of the decisions they make. You can't continue like that. You will not arrive at the place God destined for you. Well, and if your reason for wanting to kneel down is because you've seen it somewhere, you like the way somebody did it, and you want to replicate it, I think it's worthy, it's honorable to do. If it's something you must have had a conversation about, and your babe for some reason say she likes it, and you because you love her, right? You want to do it to make her happy. Why not? I have seen how that conversations as to should a man kneel or not triggers some form of reaction and response from the female folk, that is that when you try to dissect, for some of them it doesn't really make sense. And so beyond the question of why do you think so, what you get as a reaction is annoyance and some most of the times some form of rage that when probed there's no perspective as to why that emotion suddenly jumped up. And I've had conversations with some persons, and it's okay. Like I said, allow me make generalizations for the sake of this conversation. I've had conversations with some persons, and then in the event of an outburst as to should the man propose or not, and maybe my stance is that, well, I don't know why, right? And then the person comes off as Why would you say so? Why would you say so? And then I ask, if you want to be proposed to, why should a man kneel down? And the person's countenance drops, and it feels like it is in that moment the person is trying to find facts to back up her claim as to the necessity of a man kneeling down. I think if we would adopt customs, if we would adopt ideas from wherever, the Western world, or whatever it is, whichever age it is, we should adopt them well informed, right? It shouldn't be something that comes off of what we like and there's no room to question why. It shouldn't be something that is not well thought. My concern is the fact that it feels like many things are passing by, many things are being let go without questioning why, without questioning where. And you can't live life on the assumption that all you are doing is okay. You can't live life on the assumption that this custom is not harmless in the immediate or in the long term. I I'm not against the idea or the thought of kneeling down to propose. I'm concerned as to why, right? And if you have a good why, please do it, right? And you shouldn't run with the impulse of the excitement of wanting to see a man kneel down to propose to you or to be proposed to in a particular way without questioning why you want it. I think is the foundational step to arriving at self-consciousness, at self-awareness, where you are able to sit down with yourself and answer the questions of what makes me want the things I want, what makes me do the things I do, what makes me get excited about the things I'm excited about. So that you know, I don't like it when somebody is asked a question, why did you do this thing? And then the person is saying, nothing. There's literally no response as nothing when you are asked why, because there's a reason for everything. Don't be so scared of discovering what the truth is that you shy away from exploring who you are, and you shy away from discovering who you are, because it's going to be more plus discovering who you are than you imagine having to shy away from those deep conversations with yourself.